Solid pick for Wildcard. Lends a little bit more strength into the overall team fight plan for them, although the DP doesn't really do them crazy amount with extra lockdown, but you're running Tiny Snap as your 4 or 5. Probably get away with that, so that's going to be the anchor for them, hopefully. On the DogChamp side, though, well, we got to see what the call is for their supports, because, yeah, Wildcard, we're not messing around with that. Just support ban after support ban. To be honest, there's still some heroes left in the pool, ET. It's just the heavy hitters, the S tier options, have been taken away, except for that one. Kind of forgot about Mirana, still sort of hanging out in the back of the pool, and DogChamp will take it.
Yeah, and if DogChamp were an SA team, I'd hazard to say maybe see the Coddle Ember come out again because
Mm,
they just really like that combo, and that's one of Yarn's best. But Murata will do a very similar job, and again, give you some more lockdown. Again, not guaranteed lockdown, which is kind of unfortunate. A lot of the game is still going to be relying on those chains, and that's techies. Okay, well, that again fixes some of the lockdown issues, and that's a really quick pudge pick. So
mm.
drafts are going in different directions now, but wildcard simply say with this pudge pick, after seeing your 4 heroes on DogChamp, do you guys have enough damage to kill a pudge? I don't know right now. They've got this mix that I don't know. DogChamp have a little bit of physical damage coming in from the slight and sure some harass from the spiders, but Pudge does not care about magic damage, and he is just going to start walking at you. That's a really great pick for wildcard.
Is going to be strong, tough to get through. The Death Prophet will provide a similar conundrum for DogChamp, so whatever the carry option for them is going to be here, Yuma's going to have to hit like a damn truck. Otherwise, I was going to say they would have to avoid team fights, ET, but with their lineup, can they even afford to really do that?
Yeah, it's really it's a tough spot because I think for Yuma he's going to want to be on a hero like the Ursa, like the Troll,
Mm.
something that's going to be able to stay in, stick on top of these targets, but it's just not a very fun game to be honest. It's where I almost wish that he would be able to pick a hero like his TA, but I feel like that's a lane that he's not want to go into versus DP Tiny. It's where you have a twofold problem right now. You've got the DP Tiny lane in front of you, and you've got a core matchup that just is not going to feel great either. So, really, what does Yuma want to play? It's where the answer to all those questions could just be Nature's Prophet. And we'll have to see if maybe it is just Nature's Prophet as the just one hero to try and survive that lane. But really, nothing feels great right now. And we'll have to see because I feel like Yarn is most likely going to want to play the techies just because he's kind of the techie specialist on the team. But now your support duo also doesn't really have that much guaranteed disable. That's kind of the name of the game for DogChamp right now. Nobody has a stun. Yuma kind of wants a stun now at this point. It's all the chains, which again does not feel great.
Yeah, I mean, their best combos chains into a well-timed arrow, I guess, or I don't know, maybe the techies could sort of jump in there and create something, but as you said, not a lot guaranteed, not a lot that you're going to be able to bank on, especially in the middle of a hectic team fight, right? You don't have all day to set up for that combo when you're in the middle of Pudge and DP running at you, Mortimer Kiss is flying overhead, so whatever this pick for Yuma is, it really does have to be the linchpin. It's got to tie all of this together while also, not dying and doing significant amounts of damage. That's a tough ask, so, well, we'll see. You talked about things like the Ursa and the Troll. They're still available. Wildcard opting to ban out the Monkey King as well as the Morphling. Both incredibly, well-practiced bans against Yuma, but whatever he gets, I feel like he's not going to be 100% happy with just because of the situation.
Yeah, and that's where I still feel like maybe there's a chance you just pick Nature's. And they
Uh-huh.
decide to get even weirder with it. So now, is this going to be an Ember carry for Mr. Yuma? Or, okay, I guess maybe it actually is carry Quap because that gives you the Death Prophet lane that typically we talk about when it's mid DP versus mid Queen of Pain, where you have the dagger to slow her up whenever she goes for the Siphon Suck. So that really ends up putting more pressure on her. This is something that some South American teams were experimenting a month ago,
And
and then
there's the
Wildcard
Prophet.
just pick another carry. So I don't know. I feel like this is gonna be Yuma Queen of Pain, but DogChamp have just banked everything on their lane matchups, so they can't afford to lose. If they lose their lanes, the game is basically over at that point because Wildcard have better heroes, better team fight, better item timings, I mean, DogChamp need to come out brawling and never stop, because this is a tough one.
And it will be Yuma on that Queen of Pain, so... Well, as you said, there is something to be said about the laning matchup, although it's not going to be the one that I think they wanted initially, because Babatich has taken the Death Prophet. So, now you lane Queen of Pain against Nature's Prophet, not Death Prophet. Honestly, I think that lane can probably still work out pretty well for Yuma, but it's not the exact one that they may have drafted the Queen of Pain to face off against.
Yeah, it's gonna be, I think, kind of a tall ask here. It's where maybe I'm thinking to myself, is there a Shadow Fiend pick that also fulfills a similar role? Is there just a situation where, again, they take the natures before? I don't know. It feels like DogChamp have really kind of drafted themselves into a tight spot here. And maybe the Brood is going to be annoying enough. Maybe the Brood is going to be able to take over the map and still do Brood things, as we typically say. But I don't know. I think Wildcard just have some phenomenal heroes. It's where, again, lanes are going to be everything in this game. If DogChamp fall behind at all, then the game plan looks pretty darn easy for Wildcard.
Fight or die from the very start for Team DogChamp here, but hey, if you were going to take a risk, if you were going to go with something a little unconventional, and it's a carry Queen of Pain, so that's about as unconventional as you're allowed to go, then, well, game 1 of a best of 3 would be the time to do it, right?
Okay. Yeah, it's just unfortunate. And smoke and smoke, okay. Do like this, but I think I want to say Smiling Knight and Alone experimenting with this hero in that position on Thunder Awaken. I think I also saw Pakaz play it in 1 or 2 games, because it is just a solution to the lanes as the hook lands. Yeah.
That's not exactly the start that they wanted. Ward dropped early, sets up for Ark's hook, and there's your first blood play. Not a bad one at all, and Babatich was the one... Yes, he was, okay. Babatich was the one to get the last hit, so he actually gets first blood there, and you see that bottle just inches away at this point, so... We talked about their lanes having to be pretty solid for DogChamp. Middle lane's going to struggle a little bit just because, well, the DP's going to have the bottle earlier than expected.
Yeah, and look at this. They're already trying the lane dodge because DogChamp know that this is a bad situation. So they're trying to get the Broodmother versus the Nature's Prophet. And with the death, it, funnily enough, does hide it a little bit better as the supports actually decide to beat down on Arc a little bit, which is pretty nice. A lot of good damage traded. And even Samson probably doesn't want to get into this trade, but they will get forced back. But this does hide the lanes. And we'll have to see, because again, with Nature's Prophet, once you get that teleportation up, it's a very simple trick to get the laning setup you want at the end of the day here. Even though it looks like they're actually starting off with a tri-lane bottom, they're going to continue to put pressure on Arc.
Got Yarn still making his way over, but, well, B9... Yeah, gotta be a little careful there. They knew he had taken the Starstorm, so they do try for the hook play, but not quite enough damage to finish that kill. But now, DogChamp actually will not commit for the tri-lane, it would appear. So, thought for a moment the Techies was making his way down bot, but Yarn does end up TPing up top, so... We'll see how this plays out, right? We'll see whether Sunlight chooses to switch things up once he's got the TP.
Yeah, and of course, the good news is that Yuma's still in a laneable situation, even though right now he's going to take so much damage, just still not level 2. He's going to eat really everything here, and he's dead. Yeah, just too much. Very nice timing, very good hook from Arc. Last time we saw Arc play this pledge, he just continued to hit those early game hooks, and the opportunities present themselves. It's as simple as that. They're both 1 creep away from level 2, by the way. There you go. Your 2 creep wave rounding numbers that pro players were harping on just a few days ago ends up not getting them the kill out there on B9, but you know, it could be worse.
Yeah, I mean, this lane is already off to a good start for them, and Yuma's going to hit level 2 here pretty soon, so I don't know if they're going to have that same potential, although that is assuming that he puts that point up in Blink at level 2, which how greedy will he be, right? How safe does he feel? B9 is trying to make him feel a little bit safer, pushing his way forward and just acting as that harasser. But he just doesn't want to commit the point yet, which honestly is the wisest possible choice here.
Yep, just decides to be patient, and we'll have to see, because Quap, really, it's slow goings. You have to choose a skill build early on. It's a hero that's constantly pressed for those skill points. You can choose to either be that lane dominator that we know Quap to be, or you farm fast. And I think for Yuma, being Yuma, he's going to want to farm fast as B9. That's his last leap, and they know about it, so are going to play up a little bit more now, even though I am surprised that the lanes are sticking out for now. Sunlight already used his TP top just to get himself his Wraith Band and refill his health and mana, so we're not seeing that lane swap just yet.
He's going to stick it out for as long as he can in this lane. In the meantime, Flea, yeah, just trying to be annoying, doing tiny things here. We'll see once he has a point up in the toss if A, they get more aggressive in this top lane, or B, if we see the Tiny maybe make a rotation towards mid, because right now, RCY is, you know, predictably that half step behind. We talked about the first blood giving Bobatich a little bit of an edge, and realistically, that is kind of the only separation, right? Having that bottle allows him to get one wave's worth of creeps over his opponent.
So it's pretty nice, and RCY just eating a lot of the siphon damage, and Bobatich goes for the glyph. Of course, there's a Fairy Fire still available, so Bobatich is going to have to work for the kill a little bit harder, and great slight. Got to the full bottle charge there, didn't get disabled by that Crypt Swarm, even though he's still underneath a little bit of pressure here. And now if RCY doesn't get this water rune, this lane gets pretty bad for him. We'll have to see, because there's already a movement from the support. B9's trying to at least take or secure one of the runes.
Let's see. RCY will win the foot race for one rune. And then, as you mentioned, B9 was sort of standing guard over the other, so they should be able to acquire both. I don't know if RCY is actually going to get the second, or if B9 just takes it for himself. No, okay. He'll leave it. So that is back-to-back bottle refills for the Ember Spirit, going a long way towards helping him kind of start evening things out in this lane.
Yeah, and of course, with Ember Spirit in typical fashion, once he hits level 6, you know, he has fountain resets, he has, you know, infinite HP mana, he will be fine.
So, nice little low-cost bailout play there from B9, right? Yuma isn't exactly dominating the lane here, but he was safe while his support stepped down, and 1-1-1 on the early skill build, so he does still want that point in the blink just in case, but Yuma playing it kind of conservatively, right? He gets the early Falcon Blade here, so on the one hand, we're talking about a position 1 Queen of Pain, then a position 1 Queen of Pain who's laning outside of the usual laning setup, so I don't know. At this point, really nothing is unexpected.
Yeah, no, it seems pretty darn fine, as well as Arc really not getting too much time, and I think his Ring of Health ended up dying on his courier, just got picked off by the Mirana, so he's under maybe just a tad more pressure than he probably would like to be on, and like you said, with Yuma having the Falcon Blade, really, Arc can't approach too easily. It's where he needs the Sapphire there before he can even go for last hits in this lane, even though, ooh, mid, not a solo kill, but all it was a tree throw from Flea. That was just exorcism, just the slight level advantage. And you look over at the Ember, he's maybe one creep away from hitting his level 6, but because he misses that mark, he gets taken down.
Yeah, it was, what, tree toss, and I get technically put a ward down, so that might have given a little extra vision, but oh, that was all it took. RCY just caught kind of low, and Bobatich feeling very good about himself, right? 2 kills on the board, highest last hit count by a sizable margin, and a bottled arcane rune, which timing-wise that kind of sucks a little bit. Maybe if he could have popped that first, but either way, he's doing all right in this lane. Sunlight, though, finally starting to feel a little bit of pressure. With Flea out of the lane, they had a 2v1, which they very clearly take advantage of, but the reason there's a 2v1 is because Flea went back mid. Unfortunately, for them at least, RCY is level 6 this time, and he's able to dodge out.
Yeah, it is kind of unfortunate, though. RCY has had to use every single Remnant ever since he got his level 6 defensively, just because, well, their pressure is here, but Flea, Well,
Mhm.
3 tower shots, yeah, more slight, more damage, and actually, they're bringing
Sunlight,
everybody here.
yeah. Sunlight's in. Bobatich is getting jumped in on, but look at all the healing, the siphons, the wand charges. He's still dropping, though. Does the bomb take him out? Yes, it does. Sunlight's at least able to turn it into a trade taking down Yaren, but he needs to get more because that's your mid laner going down in the midst of all that for honestly just the Techie's kill, but they won't secure any more than that. So DogChamp taking advantage of Wildcard's heroes kind of playing out of position there, and to be honest, CT, both sides brought a lot of bodies, but it works out for DogChamp.
Yeah, and in a situation where, fortunately for Wildcard, they get to swap the Pudge into the Broodmother's lane as soon as Arc actually gets his Vanguard, so that's going to be not too bad. But
Whoa.
Arc, have you walked into too much magic damage here? It looks like you have. No teammate to bail him out either. No, neither support actually make that TP because they're making plays elsewhere. And again, they're trying to go into RCY, but he just remnants away. Maybe B9 gets taken down, but he's got leap charges. I think he's fine as well. And they're already poised for maybe a return play. Is where it's really paying dividends here for Wildcard. They get to see so much, but at the same time, Broodmother's top, got the tower, killed the Pudge. Italiano Gangster is having a great time.
Yeah, what is with all this movement? Sunlight's been in the middle lane twice now. Both of the supports are now mid after Samson TP's in, and I'm not entirely sure what they're trying to do other than just bully RCY, but that really is not producing the results that they want. And as you were sort of mentioning, while that goes down, there's a Broodmother just doing exactly what Broodmother does. So very strange. Intentionally, I guess, trying to swerve away from dealing with the Brood early, but if that swerve doesn't net you anything, now you're in trouble. Bobatich is getting hit up mid. The arrow came through, the Sonic Wave is deployed, and Bobatich just gets wiped off the map. Flea might be in some danger here as well, yeah. Second hit from the Starstorm connects, Sleight of Fist finishes the job, and Wildcard are bringing bodies, but at this point, I don't know about this. They're going to try for a quick kill, but they don't get it. RCY jumps away, Wrath of Nature flies through, doesn't kill anyone. But now Sunlight's going to TP forward. He wants something. He can't afford to whiff on this play, and they will take down Yaren, but they need more. Arc, however, gets stunned before he can go for any sort of hook play, and it's weird to say 9.5 minutes in, ET, but there's a sense of chaos, of almost desperation from Wildcard. Look at all that they're committing to try and force the issue on some of these plays, and they're really coming up short on too many of them.
Yeah, at least this is their guaranteed win. They get the mid tower with the second exorcism. You know, it's just what Death Prophet will do. You'll have to see how Bobatich uses the tail end of his ultimate. But I think really the biggest issue for Wildcard is how they've used Sunlight so far in this game. They forced him to rotate, I think, a little bit too much. He wasn't able to just sit in his lane, get his level 6, then rotate out. It's where he ended up in a laning situation where he had to evacuate versus the Broodmother. Italiano Gangster hit his 6 before the Natures did, and then he just started owning. And I think Italiano putting his head down and just getting that XP advantage is really what's paid them their dividends. And now, Italiano just flips the map. He decides to play bottom, and Samson, kind of the worst hero for them to dive, but they also know that he's used both of his spells. He's got a 15 stick, though.
Bit of a DC there from Sunlight, so hopefully we can get him back in. He does have a TP, not the scroll, his ability, so he could try to TP in here and help. Samson does have his ult. Don't know if they'd really be able to connect with much there, but it's a possibility, and it's something DogChamp have to at least consider, because Yuma does not have Sonic Wave for another 16 seconds. There's no sort of easy just drop the nuke and walk away sort of scenario here. They are going to have to work for it a little bit, and let's see if they're willing to commit. Huh. Samson is. Damn. Okay. Kisses come out a little bit earlier. There is no follow-up TP. He is getting damage onto Yuma as the Wrath of Nature flies through again, but they don't want Yuma. Instead, they're looking for B9. They're not quite getting it yet. Toss damage almost completely eaten by the raindrops. And while that goes down, Samson is going to be tracked down and killed bot. So, well, if you're Wildcard, to a certain extent, AT, I can kind of understand that, right? If you TP'd in heroes, maybe you could have helped Samson, but you would have been caught out in a larger engagement. Unfortunately, going in the other direction didn't actually save them any losses because Arc is left alone top, and well, this time Yuma did have Sonic Wave.
Yeah, really smart play from Wildcard, just also punishing the greed from Arc. They saw him use Flesh Heap, they saw him cut the wave, they saw him get greedy in the small camp, and all it was 2 TPs. Of course, took a chance there, saying that there wasn't backup to already help him, but a chance that worked out. And now, well, Wildcard is top. Flea and Bobatich rotated over. They just kind of got their perfect pick, and this tower push is going to result them in probably that tower, but isn't the biggest thing in the world for them, as they do get a pick on Yarn in the mid lane. Nice setup. Arc just hits the hook, you know. Couldn't be easier for him, but still, I think now we're going to have to see what Bobatich looks for with his next exorcism, because you can't exactly force Roche. They'd love to do something like that, but I think Sunlight going for the Midas and Arc being Arc on the Pudge just doesn't have enough damage for them to force it. But finding out what he wants to do with this ulti, it's always the hardest dilemma for Death Prophets. We're not strong enough to go for the tier 2, but you want to do something.
Arrow. Narrowly missing onto Samson. They are going to hit him up with the bomb, but by that point he's already away. But if you're DogChamp, you push him out of your jungle, dropping some sentries here, just making sure Wildcard didn't set up any actual vision here, and that is going to be the key for them at this point, right? I mean, they've gotten 2 of the 3 tier 1 towers. You've got a very big Broodmother who can kind of just act as your battering ram in a lot of situations, so try to take control of the map, make it so that a Tricor on the Wildcard side, who really all do need farm, won't necessarily be able to find it freely. Narrowly escaping there will be Sunlight as he actually TP's home. That, however, leaves Samson sort of out in the lurch once again. Samson just getting punished a little bit over the last couple of minutes. He's only died twice, ET, but it's starting to feel like he's going to have to play the part of that sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, no, it is unfortunate, and I think that's where the Broodmother is starting to take control. You can see the webs, you can see the pressure that he's constantly putting in onto these buildings, and it's where the Nature's Prophet is still not the answer to that hero. It's where I am kind of surprised that Arc is splitting the map right now. I feel like maybe he could be swapping places with the Natures, and the Natures can farm the Ancients, and then you still find that balance, but it's difficult. And again, it's a situation where Wildcard have 3 hard farming cores, so they need to utilize a ton of the map, and somebody's going to start to fall behind very naturally. Right now, everybody's just keeping up with each other, but it means that we're not seeing that blisteringly fast Ags on either the Pudge or the Natures. We're not seeing a fast BKB from Bobatich. It's where everybody's getting farm, but nobody's finishing an item just yet for Wildcard.
Well, they're looking for something here. Oh boy, okay. They were looking for something, but the Avalanche does not clip onto Italiano Gangster, so he just walks away, and I don't know. If you're Wildcard, it's a rough situation. As you said, they're all farming, but nobody's grabbing anything major just yet. But hey, if you slow the game down, if you find this farm, that is still going to kind of work in your favor. As the arrow, not really off the mark. It's Samson himself who moved. Good use of the cookie just to make sure he's not caught in that tree line, but they're buying time.
Well, they're doing a good job making space. Okay. We get some revenge there on some of these these spiders, but then the TP comes through, and then sadly, until Yarn gets his shard, and he is saving up for it, they don't have a stun on DogChamp. Even though DogChamp are still out, they're so far out onto Radiant territory right now, mainly because their heroes really are enabling it, both the Ember and the Broodmother just being a little bit too difficult to close the gap on. Because even though DogChamp are kind of short on stuns, until Wildcard get that blink on Flea, and speaking of, he does have it, and he's looking for a play. This is really the only way for them to stick and start an actual team fight. Otherwise, Wildcard's teamfight plan majorly is just running at their opponents and then hoping that that kills them. It's where there's not very much finesse in their lineup.
Oh, well, DogChamp make the move. They get the root, they get the arrow, but here comes Flea in with that blink. Hits the Avatos, only onto one, though. And it really wasn't the one that they wanted. B9 doesn't even go down there. It's Bobatich to fall, and RCY, how far do you want to take this? He's going to go for the Sleight of Fist Searing Chains combo, drops the Remnants in. That's enough to take out Sunlight. I think Samson's not going to make it out either. Another Sleight of Fist gets the job done. Lee is going to go for the revenge play, though, and he does get it, ET, so someone gets gold there, but that's 3 for 1 in DogChamp's favor.
No, and they already lost the tier 2. Just very unfortunate. And yeah, Arc. Easy kill. Doesn't even have mana for Dismember. And of course, if he did, well, B9 was set up with the arrow anyways. Just getting a little bit too caught far forward. Again, to finish off these items. And these items are coming through. Both of these Ags buyers are only one, maybe 1.5 components away. But then Wildcard need to hit a spike. Unfortunately, they really missed hard on that Blink Die reveal on Tiny. Just didn't find any connection. And then subsequently lose that big team fight.
Yeah, so the final tally is 4 for 1, with Arc being taken down there. And listen, killing off the Ember is a lot of gold, right? And it's gold for the Tiny. The problem is, the Tiny kind of got the thing that he was looking for, that gold, to actually purchase with the Blink Dagger already in hand. Obviously, there's further items he could pick up, but that was kind of the big one. But hey, he's got it. The reveal didn't go 100% according to plan, ET, but now Fleet can actually be a playmaker. Now they could maybe look to take advantage of the fact that they've got stuns where DogChamp don't. They've got more global presence with the Nature's Prophet, so it could be the turning point, but they still need to get the execution, and they need to find some easy picks, kind of like Yarn here in the river. This would be a nice one for them to grab quickly.
No, it certainly would be, and well, Flea is already setting up. Doesn't have the Blink Dagger for 3 seconds. It kind of has to cook Yarn a little bit here, and well, here we go. Easy.
Go. Wrath of Nature flew in there as well, so I do believe there's an assist picked up by Sunlight. Yes, indeed. So, all right. Those are the plays they need to make. Obviously, those aren't home run plays. You're not going to get 2Ks worth in a single go, but again, stall the game out, buy time, create space, and see where you're at 5 to 10 minutes from now.
And again, those Ags are slowly but surely getting done. Arc is a little bit closer than Sunlight, but I think once you do have that Ags on the Pudge, it's probably just time to look and weed out this Broodmother. It's gonna be a tough kill regardless, just because Italiano does have the hood, does have the Guardian Greaves. He's also doing the fanning technique where he sends all the spiders out in an AoE around him to make sure no heroes are going to sneak up on him unless they're smoked. But it's that type of play that Wildcard really are going to need to look for, because the map is getting eaten. There's going to be creeps on that tier 3 sooner than later. Wildcard can also decide to push into the pit now, though. They've got a Kaya on the DP. They would probably like Bobatich to have level 2 Exorcism just to expedite the process a little bit more, but Wildcard are finding farm. They're allowed to exist a little bit on Dire, even though right now, Sunlight's got to be a little bit careful of getting set up on right now. Meanwhile, they're looking for maybe a place somewhere else, but Sunlight, here we go.
Oh, the
Oh,
tree
great.
Perfect micro. Ooh. You sacrifice a tree end there, but that's what they're for. Able to get out, and hold on a second. Lee and Bobatich now push in, looking for the kill. They're not going to be able to go on Yuma. They recognize that. Pulling away now, but they get B9, and uh-oh, Arc? He's looking for Yaren. And again, Yuma, if he's not going to commit the Sonic Wave, his damage output isn't quite there to deal with the Pudge, so they get back-to-back support picks. On top of a scenario where, obviously, they dodge a gank themselves, but there's going to be your Sonic Wave. It does get deployed. RCY threw out a Sleight of Fist there, but didn't want to go all the way in, didn't want to commit his Remnants for that, so 2 support kills for Wildcard and Sonic Wave on cooldown for a bit.
Yeah,
and now a stun onto
mid.
RCY into the silence. That's just beautiful.
Oh, what a great cookie. And this is where they would want to immediately go into the Roche, but with the EXO already halfway over, they'll decide to be patient instead, but a little bit sloppy from DogChamp. All of Italiano Gangsters' spiders also just got cleaved bottom. Did do a fine job of getting that tier 3 low, but it's where Snapfire very uniquely with the Ag Shard can respond and kill the spiders extremely quickly, so it ends up being a real easy response. As well as now those Ags are pretty much done, so Wildcard have gotten over the hump that felt like them struggling for farm, but now they're getting those items done, and then you look over at DogChamp and you say, okay, what's coming in tow? Who's got the next big item? Is it just going to be this BKB on the Ember Spirit? You got a full pipe on Italiano Gangster. Where's their sync up? Because they're the ones who are turning into that more passive team. You know, Arc, getting a little run down here, but Italiano needs some more help.
The support's coming. There's going to be the stun out. Yuma, though, does blink in, and it is going to allow them to finish the job. Samson might go down in exchange, though, but with Bobatich pushing forward, DogChamp won't be entirely intimidated by it. Bobatich is strong, but they had 4 heroes, so... Okay. 2 kills. Yarn sacrificed, but yeah, he's a techies. He kind of comes with the territory. And they establish a little bit of control again. Do they want to push all the way onto this tier 2 tower, though? Because they do have the creeps. They've got the spiderlings. They've got the cart.
Well, they can definitely get, at the very least, some chip damage, but it's where the spiders are very fragile nowadays. So 1 more Crypt Swarm, and then they'll all just get cleaned up. Nice micro, though. Saving at least a few of them. But we are kind of in that gridlock now. And, well, with that team fight going DogChamp's way, RCY's BKB is looking closer and closer. But again, look at the setup. They're trying the exact same situation to get onto Sunlight. Now, let's see, 1 more leap, and then the arrow, and doesn't find it yet again. Again, just an issue with the lineup not having that much disable. So those plays are going to be successful. But mid, Italiano.
Trying. Was a good initial stun, but not enough to finish the job, or maybe they do. Kisses are... Well, they're well aimed for the most part, but Italiano just had his dancing shoes on, and now they're going to turn. Techies jumps in. Do they get the defensive hook? No, they get the offensive one as Yarn gets pulled away and taken down, but that means Yuma's free to jump in. There's going to be your Sonic Wave being deployed onto 2. Ark's looking to TP out. He does make it, but Bobatich stuck in the middle. He goes down. Samson... Valiant effort trying to get the cookie onto everyone, but it's not going to be enough. And Wildcard, when you miss onto Italiano the first time, maybe that was the cue to leave. Instead, they try to force the issue ET, and it really doesn't pay off.
Yeah, they just end up getting out-rotated, and sadly, we still haven't seen Sunlight actually participate in many of these fights. And again, it looks like he's going to be able to escape from those dangerous situations, but Wildcard kind of just want a big team fight, a 5-on-5, especially if they can catch DogChamp without at least one of their big ultimates. I guess their biggest ultimate just being the Sonic Wave, but Yuma has very casually just been able to show up to every fight, and it's maybe 2 blinks away, and then he ends up getting a kill and then goes back to farming. I mean, he's top net worth, right alongside Italiano Gangster. The cores are just being successful. And here we go, another smoke again. They'd love to find Italiano Gangster. Well, let's see. Flea's waiting for his teammate. And now, here we go.
Have a toss. Wrath of Nature. Hook into Dismember. They really need this kill, though. Do they have the damage? Yes, they do. They might get Yarn as well, but it may cost them. Art cannot afford to go down here, but Blade9 wants to keep on chasing, but he's not going to get it. Ooh, I mean, if you're B9, I don't know if he had leap charges to get out, but Arc may still die. Yuma has the cutoff angle. Well-timed voice line there as well, as they do pick up the kill. Sunlight deciding, I don't want to be here anymore, as he TPs away, and losing Arc on the back-end ET is obviously going to make them feel not quite as successful, but that's still a very good fight for them, right? 3 kills for 2 of their own. Sunlight farmed. He's got a Maelstrom coming out to him, so slowly, very, very slowly, progress is being made.
No, we are getting there, even though I think Arc, it's unfortunate.
Can they do this? They need more damage. Wrath of Nature comes in, but the BKB is activated instead. Yuma, though, just kind of whiffed on his Sonic, trying to hit the TPing hero. But now everybody's out of gas. All the spells are used. It's time to walk away.
Yeah, Wrath of Nature flew through. Really, nobody wanted that extended fight. DogChamp were maybe looking to force out the EXO, but that doesn't come through either. So, yeah, an exchange that doesn't really end up mattering all too much. But that's a hell of a courier delivery for RCY. If he doesn't get the BKB off there, then maybe that's a return kill onto the Ember. But look at this, immediate smoke, knowing the Ember doesn't have BKB, but that's about the worst way they could have dispelled. Flea just wasn't in front, and now Samson getting picked off in front.
Oh, he did get the stun down onto Italiano, so even if he dies here, they're going to be more than happy with that. And B9, welcome to the fight. Are you sure you want to be in this? He's going to get caught in the Sprout, now tossed up, and taken down almost for free. I don't know what the attempt was there. He only had the one leap charge, and the drive-by plan did not work out. But now they are going to try and jump onto RCY again. No BKB. He's silenced up as well. The Sprout blocks his path, and
Oh,
RCY, oh, I don't know if you can really afford to be in the fight when the other side knows you don't have the magic immunity available.
yeah, got a little bit cheeky there. Just felt a little too confident, and then, of course, the Ags from Nature's Prophet is extremely annoying, and until he gets a neutral item with an easy dispel, it's going to force him to probably need that BKB to fight, or even just survive and not get picked off. It's where I think if Ark gets a Blink Dagger as well, I'd love to see that, just that way he can actually jump with his Tiny, so if we can get the full damage from the Avatos. But he's actually just bought a full Lotus Orb on Ark. And of course, you like Lotus because it just gives you a little bit of armor, one of the best sources of armor out of any item in the game, but is a little peculiar to see that build-up. But he's going to turn his build immediately around for the BKB.
Yeah, having the Dispel is certainly nice. I don't know how much mileage he's going to get out of the Reflection, though, because Shadow Strike or maybe Spawn Spiderlings could be sort of thrown back, but I feel like it's just more for the defensive capabilities in general for him, but I guess you can afford to do that, right? Ark on this Pudge, you know, you don't exactly build just straight damage. You just try to survive as long as possible. And speaking of which, RCY is hunting. Ark does not have a BKB, as we mentioned, so safety P-spot really isn't going to exist. Yeah. They were hunting him the whole time. That just felt like a setup from the very start.
Yeah, no, clean. That's all that is. And, of course, a BKB TP out would work in that situation, but you're getting 5-man set up by your opponents. Honestly, a death you're not going to be too sad about. You will be sad if you lose this Roche, though. But this is a very scouted out attempt. This is just a choice that Wildcard are going to have to make. And it looks like the 3 members near the pit are looking to at least take a peek, but the D-ward comes through. Now they're blind. B9 is heaping away, which feels like a little bit of a risk, but even himself, I suppose he's calling that they're probably not going to defend this even if they know we're taking it. So he's looking for picks, namely Flea. They would love to find the Tiny. When they get the Vessel, but got the Blink.
So another jump away. Roche, though, is so low. They do double back to finish it off. So, well, I don't know. If you're Wildcard, you did the best with the resources you had. They did have to use Kisses there, but heroes were out of position. Ark was obviously still dead for a lot of that, so just do what they can. Now, though, teamfight choice is going to be kind of iffy here. If they could find heroes entirely by themselves, then sure, you still have the means to go after them, but fighting into Yuma twice does not feel like a great idea.
Oh, look bottom.
They do have Gleep near here, and RCY is going to be forced to pop his BKB and jump away, but plays like that, right? They didn't kill the Ember, but they knew he was alone. This is where things get a little bit riskier, though. They're making a jump directly into the middle lane onto multiple heroes. They're not getting anyone just yet. At this point, Ark, you just got to watch your health. He's going to be able to walk away, but they are fortunate in that instance that Yuma was not ready to jump in.
Yeah, he was trying to get that revenge play bottom, thinking that maybe Sunlight was going to go for another wave, but ends up missing on that call. And now, okay, a fight for the vision. Flees it now in the dark and needs a little bit of help here. It's a battle for these wards.
Well, the supports just kind of try to lay out for it, but they won't be able to get that ward control. Instead, well, they lose their wards, they lose their lives, and 2 dead. DogChamp are going to take another swing at this tier 2 tower. This time, realistically speaking, they should just be able to stick around until they actually finish it.
Yeah, and very awkwardly, Bobatich had committed his Exo for that previous engagement, so now, well, you don't have Exorcism. You're basically just on creep clear duty as bottom Sunlight getting set up on, and Yarn found him.
The lockdown, they get the arrow in. Good, oh, instincts by Yarn. I don't know if they actually saw. They're pinging out the high ground here, but I think they might have actually just taken a guess at him because there is no ward in that area. Big kill for them. Ark, in the meantime, tried for the hook onto Italiano in the bottom lane. Guessing correctly that Italiano was alone in that scenario, but Not able to actually make the initiation happen. They at least clear out the spiderlings and back away, but... well, now it starts to get concerning, right? Wildcard kind of played exactly into what DogChamp wanted here, and now they're on the defensive.
Yeah, now they simply need these 3 BKBs that they're trying to build up on their cores, which is a pretty tall ask, because Human's got 2 more mans on this Aegis. He wants to do something with it. He probably wants to clear up this last tier 2 top. High ground is kind of something you never really want to do into Pudge, at least not until you know you can push these buildings extremely quickly, where DogChamp don't have the best lineup. It's where Yuma on maybe a more traditional carry could go for that play, but DogChamp don't want to force anything too hard right now, because they're also just okay farming. They're still getting a lot of speed and a lot of recovery time, especially for RCY, who just finishes up an Ags after that Sunlight kill, who just gets killed by this ward. A ward scouting their own triangle, because they know this is where Sunlight's been farming a lot of the game.
Yep. They see him come in, they pop the Moonlight Shadow to get RCY into position, and... well, you know, with the BKB, maybe that doesn't happen, but he is still working his way towards it, as are all of the cores, as you said, so it's going to be a little painful like that until they actually pick these items up, but the progress is still coming, and while the Aegis is still in hand, it's down to a minute on the timer, so they are holding, having to make some sacrifices, but the defenses haven't been broken. The high ground is still safe-ish. Italiano is maybe going to get jumped in on here. There's going to be the Dismember. How much lockdown do they have? An arrow just flew through, hitting Arc in the back, so his damage kind of stops, but they have 4 heroes on the case. They are able to find it anyway. That is a solid pickup for them, especially considering they clear all of the Spiderlings as well. Flea using his courier to kind of scout a little bit there. They see RCY, but yeah, his BKB allows him to walk away. Sunlight just faked out a TP into the middle of 3 heroes. Obviously didn't go through with it, but with the Broodmother dead, they feel like maybe we can take advantage. And they are going to try to get the silence down onto Yarn. They missed with the hook and the cookie, though. And at this point, how much further do you want to go? Flea tries to catch up, but they're getting baited in. Sonic Wave will be deployed. Yarn, though, is still tossed back, but now RCY into the fight. He doesn't have Magic Immunity, but his opponents are pretty low on health already. Arc missing the hook again. Yuma tries to go in, but the Dismember's going to lock him down, but Arc is by himself. All of his teammates are off to the southwest, so they do have to sacrifice their carry. But they're still kind of sort of trying to fight. Sunlight is TPing away. Bobatich, though, did go in for the kill onto B9. The problem is, well, he can't do anything beyond that point, even against a no-mana BKB-less Queen of Pain.
Yeah, and of course, RCY just didn't wait long enough before his jump, had a regen rune as well, but ran out of mana, so he couldn't cast too many more Fire Remnants, and then just gets rooted up by the Nature's Prophet. But a messy fight like that is exactly what Wildcard were looking for. They take a 5v4. Italiano Gangster was still respawning during all of that when DogChamp decided to go into that engagement, but because the Nature's Prophet and the DP survive, well, their BKBs are even closer. They get some farming time. The map simmers down for them to farm up and finish a lot of these items. Not to mention, both these heroes are looking for their level 20 talents. Incredible talents. 400 HP and Sprout Leashes are coming up. This next team fight is going to be a much more difficult for DogChamp to actually take, where they really have to check themselves and make sure nobody dies early, because I think in the 5v5, they still have a little bit of an advantage, but they're starting to get a little bit messy.
Yeah, the lead is holding it around 5k, but a lot of the last couple of minutes, I think, still kind of came down to the fact that Yuma had 2 lives, had the Aegis. He lost it in that fight, so how confident do they feel now, right, without having those 2 lives? How confident does Arc feel just pushing his way forward? Took out a lot of spiders, but I don't think he realizes there's like 4 heroes watching him, so now he's just got to try and turn and fight. He does have a BKB and a Lotus. Getting very awkward here. Arc is trying to fall back. Flea is hoping to get himself away as well. The Wrath of Nature, though, does a nice job rooting up Yuma. That should allow everyone to walk away.
No, it's a very nice timing. Of course, nobody popped their BKBs. Everybody got to freeze in that one instance, but It's where Yuma, sadly, is still pretty low damage on this Queen of Pain, even though the net worth is looking and feeling great. He's even just buying a straight-up Daedalus next, which is going to be pretty interesting. There's also the Revenant Brooch to look for from him coming a little bit later, but I think this is where the game maybe goes on break for a little bit. Those BKBs are now up. DogChamp's initiation has gotten even more difficult, but more importantly, Roche is also going to be the objective in the back of everybody's minds coming up pretty soon here. So we might see that focus shift. Even though Wildcard right now, getting out onto the map, honestly, should probably take some of this smoke time to get some vision down near that pit. But what a scan. Okay, they're looking for the initiation on this mid wave.
Avalanche. Well, it only hit onto one, but they did get the hook on to RCY, so even through the BKB, he is locked down by the Dismember. It's not enough to actually kill him off just yet, though. He is going to be able to jump away, but now the kisses are flying through, controlling the battlefield, taking out those Spiderlings. Bobatich wants to keep going. Blinks in, drops a silence onto the Queen of Pain, but you don't really have the damage to do that by yourself, but the hook connects. That's going to force out the BKB. Yuma popping his, trying to fight. Arc activates the BKB as well, but doesn't have a whole lot of HP. He needs to be able to get in there for this member. He is going to be able to connect. He's starting to heal back up, but he needs more backup. Teammates are coming in. Sprout Leash connecting onto Yuma, keeps him in place long enough for the kill to happen, but Arc is still... Oh, he is still so low. Can they somehow get him out of here? No, they can't. Arc goes down. B9 falls on the back line, though, as Bobatich really lays out for that kill, but now, yeah, he's got to walk away. There's his BKB being deployed. Will that be enough, though? RCY, look at the way he's angling here. He would love to get back in. He sees how low Samson is. I don't know if he's going to be able to catch up at this point. He is out of remnants. Samson is going to make the retreat back to base. So, ET, the fights continue to be chaotic, but taking a look at the recap, Wildcard very clearly walk away with more golden experience.
Yeah, they just end up getting the quap kill, and I think they didn't take the fight slow enough from DogChamp. As soon as that hook lands, as soon as they're actually able to push the Pudge away, I think Yuma got a little bit too caught up with himself. He ends up eating a full Dismember, and then this Sprout Leash talent gets to prove why it's as good as it is. So I think in the future, they're probably going to look to abuse. I mean, in that situation, they could have entirely walked away from the Death Prophet and then re-engaged. That would have been a wasted exorcism, but they give their opponents pretty much the only play they could have gone for. But now, Roche is going to be up in 10 seconds. That is where the next fight is going to be. It's where Wildcard are going to be the initiators here, as Samson, yeah, barely ticks out to the chains. But Roche is going to immediately spawn. Both teams just scouted it. Enough vision from the Treant, plus the Ember checking it himself. Oh, here's our next big team fight.
No immediate push towards that pit just yet, because while both teams scouted it, I believe both teams know that the other team scouted it. So the first one in potentially presents themselves as a target, but DogChamp are making their way over. They know they've still got 20 seconds where Samson is out of the fight, and at this point, even if he buys back, his closest TP point is this tier 2 tower, which is close but not immediately on hand, so they're going to try and push it.
Yeah, 5 seconds on the Snapfire as well, so there is still man advantage, but Wildcard have the BKB advantage, and I feel like they should start to move. This Remnant, though, stopping all the blinks, and now they're caught.
Now the root comes in. The hook does not hit. Roche is still going down. Yuma's going to be able to pick up the Aegis, and now if you're Wildcard, I mean, what do you do? Heroes are at half HP. Exo has been committed into this, but it just doesn't feel like this is a scenario they can actually do anything with. In fact, Samson just gets caught out to the north. They'll take him down. Flea, though, just tried to jump in. That did not seem like a great idea at the time. It's going to get even worse now. Flea should be punished for this. Taken down quickly. The cores at least walk away, but that was not the Roche contest that they were hoping for.
No, they just ended up taking so much damage on the walk over, and now Sunlight does not want to get forced into using his BKB here, but finds a nice little tree line for him to duck away into. But they are not letting this Nature's Prophet get any split push done in this game, and Bobatich, he is also making his own little run for it, just knowing how many heroes showed bottom. I guess that he feels safe in that moment, but Wildcard just couldn't find the angle to get into the pit. There were too many mines, there was a great sonic wave, there were just too many obstacles in front of them, and Arc just walked into a 4-second arrow.
He does have BKB, but his health is so low at this point. Oh, does he still get away? Yes, he does. Okay. once the BKB is active, the only real damage is RCY with physical, so he's able to get out ET, but now with his BKB on cooldown, they know we're not going to be seeing any plays from Arc for a minute. At the same time, Babatich also TPing away, so well, as you said before, they're really not letting a lot of split push happen. Not just the Diligence against Sunlight, but any of the other cores either.
Yeah, they just kind of are getting locked out here. DogChamp do have to clean up this ward on the high ground. A ward that looks like it might end up just killing Yaren. We'll have to see. I think he's pretty dead, but this might be a way for them to start the fight. And if he doesn't die immediately, okay, now DogChamp could look for that re-engagement. Gotta be very careful here. Still, though, a battle for the high ground.
RCY gave a poke at it, but doesn't want to commit. Yuma, though, no such qualms. He jumps straight in with the Sonic Wave onto Samson, but he's able to jump over the cliff. Doesn't really matter. Yuma still goes in. Arc, though, is the real target. He is completely surrounded by enemies. There's no one there to help him. While he goes down, they did take out the first life of Yuma, but that's only the first life. They have to kill him again. They get the Sprout in. They're going to go for the silence, but Yuma pops his BKB, and now it's just a damage check. Do they have the DPS? Yes, they do. Yuma gets taken down a second time, and Italiano, losing his own BKB, needs to back away. RCY, though, is going to jump his way in. They'll take down Sunlight. No buyback on the Nature's Prophet. And Babatich is getting bounced around the fight by his own teammate, actually, with that cookie play, but he will survive. Exorcism about to come to an end, and Wildcard, I can't really say that they win that fight, ET, looking at the bodies that dropped there, but it could have been worse.
Yeah, and without Sunlight and Babatich doing the good work there, keeping the Queen of Pain locked down in that situation, and really, that would have been, I think, a 5-for-1 and probably a Rax, depending on Wildcard's buybacks, but we get to see the Sprout talent, we get to see why it's so stupid, and the physical damage coming in from Sunlight. He's got a full Daedalus at this point. He is swapped. He is the carry now. Arc is just a guy who's going to BKB Dismember and hopefully keep somebody locked down long enough. But also, I think from DogChamp, made a bit of a mistake there with their supports. Nobody could force staff the Queen of Pain on either her first or her second life, because if she's able to disengage and get herself into a slightly better position, then that ideal fight does happen. Maybe you still use the Aegis, but she just needed a friend. It's where the supports dove a little bit too far forward to try and stop the Tiny Splink that the cores just kind of were able to handle business themselves.
At the same time, we saw Arc go down there surrounded by about 4 heroes. Right now, he's looking for Boots of Travel, which, okay, right? It's going to give him more in the way of sort of maneuverability and movement, but he is starting to die that little bit faster in these fights. In terms of itemization beyond the bots, is there anything he can do to try and get a little bit more durable? As right now they're looking for the fight, trying to jump in onto both Yaren and RCY. Might have just wanted to pick one target. I think they might still get Yaren here. Oh, wait, maybe they won't. Sonic Wave from Yuma's going to come in, pushing back 3. Babatich dodges a little bit of that damage with his Yule Scepter. Not even his Yule Scepter. I think that was an enemy one, but either way, he is still fighting his way through this. He popped the Exo, he popped the BKB, but his teammates are going down around him. They've lost 3 already. And now the BKB wears off. He'll be run down. RCY grabs the double kill. And I am realizing as well that was not a Yule's, that was the Stormcrafter. That's why it was so damn short, but that's not really relevant. They still lose 4 in a fight that really they shouldn't have been involved in.
No, they think they can get that jump, and as soon as they whiff, because their attention gets split, then Yaren gets to slip out again, as well as in that fight, just not enough patience from Sunlight. His initial Sprout ends up not clipping onto the Queen of Pain, the Dismember ends up going off, and if they have that Sprout on the Quap, she probably goes down at the very least, but Yuma gets a full reset, the team gets to walk it out, and now, oh, you get to see the push come through, and this bottom tier 3 that was getting pestered by the Broodmother, that's going to be Yuma's job. The rest of the lineup's going to get the mid-racks. And I mean, where are your buybacks? A lot of these heroes ended up buying out items, so you've got nothing from the Pudge. Well, you got nothing from the NP either. I mean, this could just be megas.
Yeah, they cleaned up the first lane already. Bottom lane's going down as well. They're going to look to push the envelope a little bit here, getting onto Arc, but without the arrow connection, they do very wisely pull it back. They're going to look for that final lane. Flea is doing his best to be disruptive here, but the heavy hitters, the ones actually going after the racks, they are not deterred. They're going to go all the way in. Arc, I don't think you really want to do this, especially now that they've lost the racks anyway. There isn't a lot to fight for, but they're going to try for it. There's going to be your Dismember coming in. Gleipnir from Sunlight hits up onto a couple on the backline as well, but again, ET, just like in the last fight, the focus is split. They're trying to hit too many targets. They're not bringing any of them down, and now they're going to get punished for it. Arc, the first to fall. No buyback available. Babatich in some trouble as well. Sunlight dropping low. He's going to die, and I think that's the last gasp. There it is. GG called, and Wildcard just could never really pick one and go all in for it.
Yeah, kind of a dramatic fashion to lose what felt like an extremely close game up until that point, but just a few bad fights where they push into DogChamp territory where they don't have the vision advantage, where Yaren, namely, is able to squeak himself out of some really tough situations, and then they kind of lose the plot, as well as I think in a couple of those fights, just staggering their BKBs in conjunction with some of their abilities. And I think really Sunlight losing a lot of focus in those last two engagements where he doesn't find the hero that he wants to hit. He doesn't want to start on the Broodmother. He wants to hit Yuma, be in a right-click war against the Quap, 100-0, a fight in which he will win with the help of his Death Prophet, but that never transpired, aside from their one Aegis grab where the game looks like it was kind of fixed for Wildcard for a few moments there, but then off of their initiations, they kind of get punished. And this was kind of the game of no initiations. Both Wildcard and DogChamp had to struggle for vast amounts of time in this game for tools to allow them to actually team fight. And I think that's where Wildcard, you really felt that pressure. It's where having a carry Pudge without a Blink Dagger and an offlane Nature's Prophet and a mid DP, it just is not enough lockdown coming from the cores. And then unfortunately, Flea's got one Avatos, but it's one Avatos. It's the AoE lockdown that you don't have that DogChamp, coincidentally, do have in the Shard, in Yaren, in RCY, in his chains. It's just a little bit more, but it's just enough.
I think, as you say, it's enough to get them by, but you take a look at the graphs here. Obviously, the scale kind of shifted a little bit at the end there, but this deficit that Wildcard are looking at, it's 4 or 5k up until like 40 minutes. They were still very much in this game, despite the fact that things weren't looking great for them. It's just, you need to be able to play with that discipline, with that diligence, the full way through, and it just kind of slips for them in one or two moments, ET, but unfortunately for them, the worst possible moments to lose your cohesion.
Yeah, and I think leading up until that point, Wildcard certainly still had an issue. Mid lane was great, but I think they go for this lane swap up that never really happens. And an Italiano gangster ends up having a phenomenal early game, is top net worth at 10 minutes. You know, it just feels like the Broodmother at the end of the day, despite what felt like a counter pick in the draft, ends up not feeling like a counter pick. And you don't even get to lean into what also felt kind of like a mistake from DogChamp with the safe lane Queen of Pain, but it also ends up not getting punished. But you know, we'll have to see. I think we're going to see a vastly different draft here, though, for game 2.
I'm going to see a Broodmother ban in phase 1, I'll tell you that much. It's got to come. I think you'd much rather deal with the Trinity Protector at this point, but we'll see what the call is going to be. We'll see who ends up actually, with first pick in the first place, because that could have a lot of impact on what it looks like. But the game 2 draft is going to be coming your way in just about 10 minutes here, so we will step aside. Be back on the other side of the break.